Yes, I think the misunderstanding is justified, and it tells me one thing, that we're all united in understanding that death is not good. Okay? What do I mean? Violence, which were preceded by hate speech, had led to death of people. And so since death is not good, then we should stop it. Invariably, this means we should stop hate speech. So how do we stop hate speech? Many people are involved in it without even knowing it. So the idea of the commission is to have a body that can bring in parties who are involved in these exchanges for dialogue, for reconciliation, for engagement, for discussion. And in many instances, let me tell you one funny thing. The bulk of the culprits are very highly placed people. Because there are some people, these are people who, when they speak and say one word, a large majority of people listen to them and they take action. Except for some few cases where somebody comes into a large group of people and invoke ethnic sentiment or even religious sentiment, and one person is found, as a culprit, and unfortunately, they mob him and kill him or her. And that has happened before. That has happened before. If that person commits an offense, there is a law that says, oh, that offense, you should report it. Let that person be dealt with in accordance with that. But when you take it further, by invoking through hate speech these emotions based on the fault lines of either ethnicity or religion, and the person ends up dying, is that what we want to continue to promote? My answer is no. So the idea of the Independent National Commission is to provide room for this to happen. And if you notice, post-election violence in this country, we end up having an ad hoc arrangement of either a peace committee or what do they call it. They have a limitation. So if that is a major problem, why can't we, give that responsibility to some very, very good Nigerians? And remember, we said independent. We truly meant it to be independent, because the provision in the Act is that that person is not going to be answerable to any authority, but the commission shall operate in accordance with the provisions of the Act, which means where they've done their due diligence and they realize that, yes, this case is what should be charged to court, they charge the person to court. And the court will take it up from there. Justice seems to be served. Not to allow the mob actions that characterize what has been happening now. And you can go on and on. For example, even the case in Ife, where about 46 people, or is it 36 people, or how many large number of people died. Go back and go and check what happened. It was a crisis between a Yoruba person and a Hausa person. An ordinary trade, dispute. But subsequently, this ethnicity was invoked, and at the end of the day, it went into a conflagration. Okay? So, these are the things we're talking about. And there are so many cases like that you can count. The issue of the Alu 4, for example, it's a breach of trust between two young boys. He went to go and seek justice for his, what did they call it? And this one invoked his ethnicity and other, primordial loyalties, and, his people pounced on these innocent students and, ended their life. I remember the story in such a manner that one of the victims was the only child of the mother, and the mother is a widow. The question today now is, who is remembering that widow? She's a victim. So these are the issues. And there are so many of these cases, some reported, some unreported. So the question we are saying is that the Constitution protects every single Nigerian. The freedom of speech, which people run to, how free is it? Because the same Constitution says, where your freedom of speech is going to impinge on public order and national security, there should be a check on it. Has these things not invoked hate speeches? Have they not disrupted public order? No. Haven't they? They have done. Within the period, I remember in one of the reports I saw, if there are such crises, markets are closed, No activities, curfew are put in place for 1, 2, 3 days. Loss of economic and livelihood. During that period, there are people who cannot eat until they go out. So there's a lot of things. And I believe we just have to look at this thing dispassionately. And like I said, there is no altruistic, intention in me. My intention clearly is to show concern to my fellow citizens who have fallen victims of this crime over the years and over time, and this thing is not abating, it's rather increasing. It's rather increasing. And the argument by some people that kidnapping is a problem, this is a problem. And who told you that some of the people who are victims of hate, speech-induced violence have not gone to join kidnappers? And I give you a classical example of one of the kidnappers around Kaduna, Birnin Gwari, the Hausa, what do they call it? Audio, trended for some time. He said they call him Shege. He asked his mother, why Ubana? Who is my father? The mother could not provide answer. But anytime he goes out, the attack on him is that he's a Shege. That is the hate. People hate him for that. And he felt he's being hated for no just reason. At the end of the day, he said, well, let me go and join the bad gangs. And that was how he found himself into the kidnapping ring. And therefore, he became merciless and does not have any pity on his fellow human beings. This is just a classical example. Only God knows the number of such people that are out there. So are we going to continuously fold our arms in the name of, like some people will say, you are creating a bureaucracy? Do we have any option of running government? Do we have any option? We don't have any option. We have to organize government in accordance with the rule of law and in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And that's what this bill seeks to do.